It's Tuesday, and Derek is shoveling pumpkin seeds from a pumpkin we've had on the front porch since mid to early October. It is now December 5th. And we're gonna Instant Pot it, cook it.
The last one we did turned out really well.
It was really, really delicious.
Yeah, these things taste really good. It's funny to think people generally probably don't eat all of them.
I didn't for a long time.
I mean, I never really seriously thought about it, but yeah, you can turn it into like a goo.
Yeah, we made a puree.
A puree.
Which Derek calls a goo.
A goo you can eat, or you can like put it on tacos.
We made the best tacos.
Yeah.
Pumpkin tacos with pumpkin seeds.
So it's actually pretty like versatile, and it tastes really good. It's not like you have to like pretend to like it, because it's like a seasonal vegetable.
That's true. There was real buttery.
It tastes really good.
So the last pumpkin we did was white bluish, and this one's a straight, very jack-o'-lantern looking one. So here we go. I thought about recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's gooey. Derek also just made a fire. It's real fucking fall in here. I thought about recording and picking up where we left off, because there was something about taking a pumpkin that's been sitting on the front porch for months that other people throw out, and we're making into like infinite vegan meals that are really good and like a joy to eat and make. That feels really post-capitalist.
Yeah.
Because we picked these pumpkins too straight from a field. Just flung some pumpkin at me. Okay. When we last left off, if I can share that, what didn't get recorded afterwards is like a mini micro misunderstanding argument between us, interestingly, about what the artist residency, that maybe I was changing my mind again about it in a way that felt really different. So where we are now, where would you say actually this is good. Where did it feel to you, Derek, that we landed about what the artist residency?
I mean, to me it sounds like that a residency is still a thing that's like on the plate or on the table, but you're not limiting yourself to just like one vision of what you want to do with the space.
Yeah.
So that just makes sense to me. I mean,
This pumpkin's looking real clean.
I'm kind of in some ways I'm kind of like an opportunist, which is like has a negative connotation about it, but like
Why opportunist? In what way?
It's like, to me, it just means like you can adjust as things change and like opportunities arise and this and that, and I mean in this case you just have some other ideas for how to use the space. I don't even know what. I think I was just like shocked that you like had a phone call, and then there was like so much new stuff. But
oh yeah, phone call.
what's the problem? I don't know. I don't even remember.
Well, if I can extrapolate a little bit from the what you just said, that you are an opportunist. If that, by that you mean that you were excited that you would be living in amongst, literally in the same building.
Oh, that's not what I meant.
Well, what did you mean?
I just mean like opportunity. The opportunity, you have this opportunity to use the space in multiple ways. So like, why not take it?
Oh.
I don't mean what this poses for me as like a personal opportunity. I mean, like, basically my stance with a lot of your projects is like, I'm here to bounce. You can bounce ideas off me, and I want to help. I'm not like trying to gain anything personally, really. I just like helping out on your projects. This isn't like a place for me to seek wealth or something.
True. Can I push back on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
I think one thing that conversation that you very, very like thoughtfully, the pumpkin's done, by the way.
Half.
We're half. He's moving on to the second pumpkin side. The second half of the pumpkin. Okay, I think one thing that you very thoughtfully and delicately, and maybe didn't even consciously mean to be this delicate about it, from the Friday conversation, or maybe I projected this, I don't know, that one thing that, say, if we had just 3-day like weekenders here, that were here more for the emotional health course component versus the creativity support, so more emotional health support versus creativity support, artistry support, that the weekender type of idea meant that the vibe would be less community, living in community with other creative people. And I think through that conversation with you, I realized that would separate you even further from the vibe on this side if we did that weekender, more emotional health course, less creativity artists living together, working together, side by side. And I hear you that that's not a motivation for you. But I think, did I understand, or did I pick up correctly that though that's not a motivation and you would support me regardless of either way, that you were excited, you had grown fond of the idea of actually having folks here for longer, so that like there was a little bit more of a life together, so that, for example, it was easy to maybe find someone that we really vibed with really well and could invite to stay longer, for example. And in that way, kind of return to this idea of village life that we've talked about in the past, and that you're supposed to only, in the U.S., you're supposed to, at best or at most, experience only in college, and then never again, because that's childish. And you're supposed to outgrow that into your very isolated house in the suburbs, and that is success, is to isolate yourself away from that different, but that what we can do here, if we so choose, is to kind of build, I mean, that's what these little art colonies are, right? Is like living in community together, doing shit together, having fun.
Yeah.
Low key.
Yeah. Although, it's just occurring to me is like, You know, another name for this is it's called having roommates. But like to me, having a roommate, something is like different about what we're trying to do here. But you know, basically, if you have roommates that you like, I mean that's what college was for me.
What feels? Could we parse out what is different between having roommates versus what we were excited about in the beginning?
I think like there's a difference between like having roommates and like living with your friends, but you might refer to them as your roommates. So I think it's just.
What's the difference between an artist colony and having roommates, do you think?
Exactly.
As someone who's never lived in an artist colony, just for the record, just making up shit here as I go along.
Yeah, I think in that case, you're all sharing like kind of a common goal, and that's like the difference. I think is like with roommates, you sort of just like cohabitate your like separate existences. You just kind of like cohabitate while you like maybe work to hopefully one day not have roommates.
Yeah. Okay. So I think one thing that by the end of Friday that we were describing, and I do want to give you credit for this because there was some way that you very delicately brought the conversation around to this thing, which is I'm really happy with now, which is like, okay, what if the rooms are like furnished and designed for creative people, right? So it's not just a bed. It's like a beautiful space that makes you feel held and safe and creative. Yeah. And say they're like more like sublets for like longer periods, like a month, 3 months, 6 months. And we only rent to artists who are actively working on creative projects.
Yeah.
Derek's off washing his hands. That's what that wild sound is. And so and we specify that it's because it is psychologically, and I would fucking say spiritually different to be amongst people who don't just happen to live with you because it's cheaper, who don't just happen to live with you because you've known each other. You are all recognize that there is something about what psychologists call parallel play that I talk about a lot. That like two humans working side by side, even if they don't talk that whole time, just simply work better. Yeah. Whatever their goal is, right? In this case, for us, it's creativity and getting like making space for what feels important versus prescribed. That made me excited again. And so then something like the emotional health course could be its own thing. That's my thing. That I make the basement pretty for that.
Which I really like that idea. Let's turn the basement into like a really nice space that can be used for something.
Yeah.
Paloma, by the way, has this really impressive way of like turning a space into something that you want to be inside of. You want to hang out in the space. So
I will.
It's very believable to me now that this like basement, which is just like cinder block and like beams and pipes, is gonna be like one of the coolest rooms in the house.
It is?
Yeah. It's like a guarantee.
That makes me really happy.
Yeah.
To hear that.
It's like the cool rooms in the house are swallowing all the way into my space. Everything else is getting consumed, and it's just my like boring living room with like no furniture or plants.
You have plants.
I have like 2. Yeah. It's great.
Do you secretly like that, or do you wish that was different? That your side.
I like it a lot. I don't keep it that way because I like it. It's just because I don't prioritize it.
Kind of like how that guy you were saying who wears the same exact outfit every day because that's simply not a thing that's going to distract him from his fucking mission.
Right.
Obama wearing the exact same suit every day because he's got a mission and it's not figuring out how to dress himself.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, the priority of like getting my space to look as good as like your living room, it just never makes it up the list high enough. But I like it. I like all these spaces. They're really cool. So yeah, the basement I think is gonna be really nice. I'm looking forward to working on that
soon.
Yeah. Also, none of this, this idea of sharing this space, none of this, like, man, we gotta think about that.
What?
So, none of this, like, bothers me. I mean, my side, I'm calling it.
Yeah, it's your side. Oh, wait, for the record, it is the duplex.
Yeah, it's a duplex.
And so...
I'm on one side.
Derek's side is his side. That's what we refer to it. My side is my side. My side will be the shared.
Shared side. Yeah.
Because that was always my vision and dream. Which is cool.
Yeah. I'm just like self-conscious here because like I'm not really entertaining the idea of having people living on my side anytime soon.
For sure.
So it's like, how are they gonna feel about me like sometimes being over here? It's like, hey, buddy, don't you have like an entire duplex over there that you can like that you can like fuck off to? Can we curse on this? That's just how I talk. I think we have to.
Oh yeah, there's no way that we can't not curse.
Yeah.
What do you think what about it do you think could be weird to them about that?
Well, it's just like, why do you want to hang out over here when you already have a whole apartment you can sit in? You can quietly sit in alone and, look at the wall.
I mean, I think you just nailed it with that last sentence.
I mean, yeah, that's how I see it, but, like, is it going to be weird for other people while we, like, are getting all that figured out? Because, like, honestly, down the road, it would be something I really like this idea of is me, like, moving into the loft space with you.
Yeah.
And then just, like, putting people in my side, too.
So eventually it could be possible that both sides are shared.
Yeah, because I don't really... Ultimately, I don't care. It's just like, it's a whole rigmarole to get that. And it's kind of a commitment because, like, the cats...
Derek has 2 kitties.
Yeah. So we'd have to, like, have something for them to enjoy about that little space. I don't know.
Maybe
like,
they want more
don't
roommates.
Feel like thinking about it yet.
I do think one that's long term because you really just fucking moved in September 30th, and it's been 2 months.
Yeah, it's not been very long.
And so, but I do like the idea of thinking, or like having fun with thinking, I should say. Having fun with thinking about versus needing to plan for. So having fun thinking about all the ways that the space could be used, and to go back to your question of like, what will they think? I don't know if this is... It reminded me of when I first met my friends Peter and Ross and Christopher, who that house that we lived in together is one of the many inspirations for how I'm thinking about this thing being. It's like it offers clues about, because it was really lovely and really critical for my emotional health at the time. I lived across the street And that's how we met them, is we were just happened to be neighbors. And I used the excuse that we were going to build a screen printing table, like an exposure unit, Peter and I together, to kind of just always be over at their house.
Right.
I understood that I was looking for any fucking excuse to be over there.
Yeah, just to hang out.
Because their energy was so fucking lovely.
Mm-hmm.
It was both warm, it was creative, it was hilarious. There was so much fun. And the house, the den already looked fucking insane. Like, there was these complex, beautiful fabric collage murals on the wall that they had meticulously stapled onto the wall. Imagine thousands of staples on the wall. Oh, we forgot about that. Should we move to the fire?
Yeah.
Let's get in front of the fire. So I knew, and I did always a little bit wonder if they were like, why the fuck is this girl over every day? First just for lunch, and now for lunch and dinner. Because they were all working artists. They all worked at home. They didn't have like day jobs. And I didn't either. I also, at the time, was like working on this craft business. But in hindsight, I now realize that we all just liked hanging out. And if they first had that question, eventually they asked me to move in, like just months later. And I was like, oh, thank God. So I wonder, I just think of that with like, if the point is to have this side be so warm and welcoming and lovely and creative and like community vibey, it would make sense to anyone why someone's over.
That's true.
1, 2, I think the way we already are talking about it, like even through this documentation process, like the way we already talk to people about it is that it's a shared project based on like a vision I've been working on for a long time. But you're both supportive emotionally and creatively. You are actively working on the spaces often with me, and we'll do more so starting January. And so I wonder if they're just like, oh, Derek has the attached apartment with the kitties, but he's part of this.
Yeah. You know what just occurred to me?
What?
I can make my apartment nice to hang out in. And then like it can just be like you're basically like always welcome to come over sort of thing. Like it would be less weird to me if it was like there's like a whole other apartment
sectioned off.
Like you can come, like the living room over there is really chill and there's 2 cats. Like it's kind of a cool hangout spot.
Oh my God, the cat cafe.
Yeah.
When people need cat cafe. The cat cafe.
Actually.
Oh my fucking God.
Maybe get some really nice coffee shit, like an espresso machine or something.
The really nice. I think we should dial up all the things that you love about life.
This is a good idea.
For the cat cafe.
Because then, now there's like an excuse to go over there. It's like, yeah, you could make like a drip cup here, or we could go to the cat cafe and like make a
straight up fucking espresso
macchiato or whatever. And like hang out with Bo and Ralph.
Hang out with the kitties.
And it's like sort of decored really nice, and like that's a good idea. But I'd feel less weird if I was hanging out over here, if like it was known like that there's a space over there that you can like come, we can like go over and use.
How would you feel, though, about your need for privacy and quiet time? I mean, you'd have your bedroom, which is, all bedrooms are off limits. I think there's, like, basic rules that everyone understands that when they're an adult, which is, like, rooms are super private. So that's true.
That's a good question.
It's something to sit with.
Yeah, I guess something to think about.
I mean, there's going to be so much room that there'll always be a space to go in.
Right, yeah. I'm, like, not worried
Including
about
my loft.
weirdly. Because I don't really... It's like, I don't need as much. I don't need that much. It would, like, if I could choose, it would be better to have people just, like, popping in to make coffee. I would prefer that. Part of me just believes that's, like, not a possibility.
Which part? Which isn't a possibility?
Just, like, could I ever make a space that people actually wanted to, like, pop in and have coffee?
But that's what I'm here for.
I know. You're, like, a master of doing that. So, like, we could do it. I think it's a great idea. I think that would make me feel better. And,
But it still differentiates. I think the thing that matters to me... Oh, we should back up on this. Because I think one thing that is one of the many things that is not a track that was prescribed for us and that we're carving on our own is what kind of relationship we have about living spaces. And so I don't know that we've defined the fact that, like... One of the things I told you when we were, like, early dating is that I really wanted to live... attached together, apart together, independent together.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that, like, I think I told you, like, to have 2 apartments attached so that each person has their own apartment, because I think in part because I know how much my creativity is, like, flourishes when I don't have to negotiate every design decision in my house, because so much of my creativity is in spaces.
Yeah.
So, but / we're, like, early in our relationship, and so the spaces being separate have been really... We joke about... I think your recent joke was that maybe the neighbors, like, they see us come home in your car from, like, some errand, and we, like, kiss in front of the garages, and you go into your front door, and I go into my front door, and you're like, do the neighbors think that we have, like, an arranged marriage because we're both gay and in the closet?
Yeah.
I
think that's one possibility.
One possibility.
If I saw people behaving like this, that's one thing I might think.
Why are they kissing and then going into separate apartments?
It's pretty good.
Or, like, is she dating her tenant?
Yeah.
Because they met me first. I love that one too.
Right.
Maybe she's getting free rent for sex.
Sure.
Who knows?
Some interesting salacious arrangement is happening.
Salacious arrangement.
I really like... every time we talk about this with somebody, I'm just like, God, I fucking love this shit. Or I love this, like, living situation.
Me too.
But yeah, I guess we're talking about it, like, changing a little bit.
Well, I think I like the idea that you still get... Your side is still your side. My side is still my side.
Yeah.
But in the way that you come over all the time and I'm, like, warmed by your presence and we share this space, like, but I know that if I wanted to, like, I don't know, completely move all of the dishes to a different cupboard and, like, I don't know, whatever I want to do on this side, I do.
Yeah.
But there's, like, no consultation required. I really need that level of, like, permission to stay feeling excited and creative. And that you would, I think would be really fun, is if you were, like, the client and you were like, I want a cat cafe that has XYZ vibe. That's, like, me. Mm-hmm. It's, like, me.
Man, I'm gonna have to clean the puke off of, like, everything in there, aren't I?
There's a little bit of cat puke.
There's a lot.
That happens.
Yeah.
Still?
Well, some, like, the cat tower might need some replacement pieces.
That's true. How do you feel about that?
That's fine. I'm gonna have to keep the place tidy, which is good. This is a life improvement we're talking about.
Yeah, it can't be like all cat and no cafe vibe.
Yeah.
Balance the cat with the cafe vibe.
Be welcoming to humans, not just like a playground for cats.
Yeah. But how do you feel about that? That like I help deliver on your vision using my
I think it's a great idea.
Deep interest in what makes a place.
It also gives
homey.
Yeah, it also gives me an excuse to get a coffee machine.
Now you do because you're getting it for the community.
Yeah. This is like a thing that we need.
Maybe secretly every now and then we have a speaker that just starts playing Bee and Puppy Cat music for their cat cafe, because their cat cafe has a theme song.
Yeah, it's gonna just be like a chill beats
side.
But yeah, okay, that's a great idea. I'm feeling better here.
Me too. I'm feeling so fucking excited. Like cat cafe.
Yeah.
Changes everything.
I mean, it's funny too because we've been talking. Like, there's at least one cat cafe in Portland, and I was like, look, they're doing the Lord's work for sure, but it's like almost 100% a like adoption agency. It's not like a coffee shop.
This would be your internal.
This would be a coffee shop. You're not adopting anything.
Yeah, these cats are fellow residents.
Yeah, they live there.
They're staying put.
Right. That's even better. Like, anytime you come over there, it's the same two cats.
You can start building relationships with them,
Yeah,
like
they
a
never change.
real cat cafe.
And they're very like friendly to people, so they're ideal cafe residents.
That's true. They actually want you to pet them, which is not. That wasn't my experience in Japan's cat cafes.
Yeah, it's not always true.
I think those cats are overwhelmed.
Okay, so we've got that sorted out. Thanks for letting me run off with that.
This was critical. That's a good pausing point. Pausing.
Explain why.
I'm ready. It's the same day.
Okay, so we were just talking about ending
I paused abruptly.
Stream. And
I
I thought
paused
maybe it was because I was about to say some outlandish things about the cat cafes in Portland or something.
Oh, no.
I was about to really lay into the cat cafes in Portland, who are doing a great job. But, yeah. So you said, you're like self-conscious about these things going longer than 30 minutes. And I was like, well, Joe Rogan's podcasts are between like 2 and 4 hours, and he does them every day. And streamers are online on Twitch like 8 hours a day. And
I forgot this.
I don't think, honestly, as far as podcasts, I personally don't think people are looking for some short little thing to like, a nice little healthy snack or something. I think they're looking to hang out with people for like hours.
Oh, like the way my parents have the TV on, but this is actually healthy? Because you're actually following real humans.
Yeah.
Who haven't curated themselves, but you get to hang out with us.
I think it's, you're just like kind of hanging out with someone for a couple hours. I think 30 minutes is like not long enough, really. I'm just thinking about it in terms of like, what people like. I don't really know. I mean, I've spent, oh my God, over like COVID, I was on Twitch just all day at work. I was just listening to random streamers that whatever I liked for like 6 hours a day, every day for months. And this is just what people are doing now, I think. This is just what the kids are doing now, so I wouldn't really cut a thing off until you're like, I'm tired of talking.
Yeah, there are more natural pauses in our conversations that would be obvious.
Yeah.
But often they do. I did feel bad about that.
No, I would just let it ride.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just,
I think you're right.
I don't know if anyone's gonna want to listen to anything like this ever, but you know,
But
it won't be because it's too long. I don't think that's a thing.
I also like that it means I don't have to like manage the time, which I was a little bit doing, you know, like minding the time, which is, and we like cover so much ground because afterwards, after I paused or stopped recording, you mentioned a thing that I felt sad that like we weren't going to add, wasn't included in how people understood that like there's like the really fun sweet version of the cat cafe idea, but two, I think we mentioned that of course after we stopped recording that one I really like that ideas that we often come up with, like the cat cafe, which is so deeply brilliant and I'm so excited about, arise from us taking a pause and sharing like a feeling or like a vibe that we're like, here's a concern or a thing. In this case it was that you were like, I feel uneasy about something. I feel uneasy about just being this rando next door that's here. It
Right.
sounds like, and you have like a history where you have, and I was like, no, it'll be fine, because it was when I at the den, blah 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 blah, it'll be fine. You're like, yeah, like I'm glad that you referencing our first recording, listened to your heart.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, no, there's something else here that feels. And it was, in part, you were like listening to a history that like an emotion or an experience from your past.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me that some people just don't feel these things that I have, because we all have different experiences in life. But like, yeah, I think the idea of me like being over here too much when I have like a whole other space is just, it would be probably on a lot of people's mind.
Well, and more importantly,
It's like kind of unfair and weird.
Yeah, maybe unfair because you have more room over there by
like,
yourself.
It's like, why don't you just like, can you please?
Maybe, but also you mentioned that it's like in the past you felt like you would hang out in spaces and it was unclear. I think you mentioned they were tolerated, like your presence was tolerated. And like when you said that, meaning, and you vividly, this brought up that feeling and you're like, I don't obviously want that feeling here. When you said it, I was like, I do remember, I guess I do have a memory of that feeling, and it is a really shitty feeling.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling.
It's a very bad feeling that your like presence is tolerated,
It's
but you're
meant
like,
to-
but this is the best hangout space I've got.
Right. Yeah, I think if you're in that situation, you should listen to it and like either find a solution or like spend some time away from that setting.
Yeah, find a place where you are deeply welcomed and cherished.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, I don't think you'd feel it if it wasn't there. So.
Yeah. So the idea of the cat cafe does two things. One is it equalizes or like makes it reciprocal.
Right. Yes, like you can come encroach on my space in the morning when you don't want to like go spend $4 on a coffee.
Yeah, or like when you just need some kitty love.
Yeah, and like if you present this option up front or somehow like make them use the space, like, hey, we're having coffee over there.
Oh, that's nice.
Just like make it like a thing. Then right out the gate, you like, I think we avoid this. I avoid these feelings right out the gate. That's like pretty key.
Yeah.
Because if there isn't a problem right out the gate, then there isn't a problem.
Yeah. I like this. I also, I mean, I guess we also didn't touch on the, like, how much you and I will share space. But I feel like there's something about the cat cafe that almost, like, solves for that. That if, like, I think, am I understanding that right? That, like, I have a loft, which is my bedroom. And then so on my side, there's the garage, which had a loft, just like this weird torture chamber looking loft.
Mm-hmm.
That now has been finished, drywalled, insulated, designed as a bedroom by me, furnished. I love it. We had a skylight. This was all in like October and part of November. What the fuck? I was just looking because I was looking for like research, like my notes on the 3-day retreats, which we also haven't talked about. Or did we? I guess we did. That's all just been since we moved in, which has only been like a month and a half really, because then we were traveling. So hooray to us for getting a bunch of shit done. And now there's technically a third bedroom on my side, which is really what it feels like. It's not technically walled off, but it feels pretty cozy up there.
It's a third bedroom. It's a really fun room. It's the nicest, funnest bedroom.
I think so.
It's the funnest bedroom.
It's the one I've invested the most heart into. The other ones were just like holding spaces until this room. Now my plan is to now invest that same like creative heart into the two here.
Yeah.
That's what I've been working on this week. But that is above a garage that the previous owner used to use as his wood shop. So it's like very lovingly, and you can tell across decades, like designed to be a very tailored workspace. So that'll be my creative space. Actually, that'll be a shared creative space. That's how I'm envisioning that.
Yeah,
also,
I think so.
Because of the screen printing capabilities will be there, and a lot of like craft paper making, or rather paper art stuff would just be always set up. That feels good. I think I've always liked sharing creative space as long as I had like a clear desk that people weren't fucking with too much.
Yeah, I think it should be shared.
So I think, but all of us being able to go to the cat cafe, and obviously I spend maybe a third of our nights together we spend in what I will now for always refer to as the cat cafe / your bedroom.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Meaning that's still like the cat cafe kitchen is still your kitchen.
Right.
Like the way it's set up or changed or updated. Pumpkin is almost ready. That's what that noise is. All right, we heard you. Cough. What do you think, though? Does that about, you know, because you also said you like love this funny setup we have where we're like romantic and creative partners but live in 2 different apartments.
We're still gonna be doing that though. It's just
right, because we'll have the 2 separate bedrooms and
we're just letting things like bleed across more so that if there's more people here then it feels good, feels right. I think that's the thing to do. I mean, I knew when I moved here that, like, I knew what I was, like, getting into. It was gonna be, it was, like, there's gonna be some stuff I didn't see coming, and it was just gonna be a fun time, so. That's been my perspective. I lived in a little apartment for, like, 3 years before this. Here, when I moved here, so this is,
During the pandemic, no less.
Right, so it's like, I'm not like dying to keep that like routine.
Like isolation and little solo time.
It was fun for a second. It was a good time.
Good time, good solo time for 3 years.
For a few years.
So wild.
I'm not exactly like dying to hang on to it in the near future. So this is cool. These are good plans. And I only stand to gain from my place being habitable. Hospitable to human life.
Humans, not just
like
a kitty.
Like a research facility, kitchen, and living quarters.
So Derek kind of almost refused to put Christmas lights on his front porch because he liked that the vibe was, that's the man side.
That was a joke.
I know, but it's like the objectively like here to get functional.
Right.
Not here to like. But the cat cafe.
Well, now we're gonna have to spruce it up if it's gonna be a cafe.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
This is step one to the nonprofit church cat cafe.
Right, because you have dreams of living in the back and working in the front of a place. And I have dreams of running a cafe, which I've always had. Mind you, not like some people dream of having a cafe somewhere in the never near future. But in upstate, I did like all the research and I did a business plan. And damn, it's mostly the reason I didn't do it is because it's so much cleaning work.
Yeah.
People don't talk about how many hours you spend cleaning.
I think you mostly are cleaning.
Before and after there's customers.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the customers. So, but we're in a residential area, and so we were like, wait, why are there these like cafes in the middle of some residential areas that clearly are not commercially zoned? And we realize it's because they're being run out of churches.
Right.
Which is...
They cheat the legal system.
Well, let's say they outsmart the zoning system, because the zoning system is fucked. It was not created with how humans have thrived for years, which was to live and work in the same fucking neighborhood.
Yeah, they basically have it gamed
they
against
isolated us
us
further.
It's pretty stupid.
Which is why there should be little cafes everywhere.
Yeah, they should. There shouldn't just be enormous blocks of residential space with nothing.
No.
You gotta get in your car and drive anywhere.
Exactly.
It's really stupid.
Really bad. So we can outsmart the system by first creating a cult/church, registering it as a religious organization, and that happens to be here at the Mirror House. And then when we open the cafe, maybe the cat cafe is like micro prototyping.
Yeah, basically. I'm imagining a space that's open for like 3 hours a day.
Which is our favorite thing when we see another business that's like open 3 hours a day for 4 days.
Yeah, it's like 9 to 12 and you can barely even tell that it's like a business from the front.
Yes.
Like, is this the spot? That's what it says on Google Maps. Yeah, it's just like a house.
I think it's the garage that you go in through.
You know what I was thinking though is
I'm gonna start the taco movie.
Sure. I was reflecting on this idea of starting a church.
Yeah.
And I think something really cool basically would be like getting together every whatever day, and like I was thinking like listening to like an NDE.
Oh, that's the church?
That's the church.
And, well, you should explain what an NDE is.
So, NDE is short for near-death experience, and it's kind of this like phenomenon that I guess a lot of people have experienced, where maybe they were in an accident or in the hospital and basically they like die briefly, and everyone has a little different story to tell about it, but there's a lot of like similarities between them. Anyway, I spent a lot of time like researching these things, and it's at this point like pretty heavily impacted my sense of what's going on here.
Well, and when we first met, when we first started really talking, after when we first started dating, because we didn't do a lot of talking. No, I think we were like very comfortable being quiet in each other's presence, which was cool. But once we really started talking and you started like sharing more about your inner world and the way that, like, kind of what matters to you, you shared some things from your learnings gleaned from NDEs, and it's like fundamentally when you shared those, they instantly like transformed how I was looking at the universe and my role in it, and like my feelings. It was very fucking transformational for me, and that was you just like sharing like high level things about them.
Yeah, after you've listened to like, let's say dozens, once you've heard like 50, and there's like hundreds, thousands that you can read or listen to.
Yeah.
There's just so many like overlapping things in them that...
Do you want to share the one about how we stand in line?
Yeah, it's sort of like a theme, or not a theme, but like something that has popped up in more than one, is this idea that we actually... It's like pretty hard to get here, and here being like Earth, like living as a human on Earth, it's kind of like a coveted spot in a way, on like a spiritual level. So on the other side, we'll call it, there's like a line, allegedly. There's like a queue of like people waiting to live here,
to essentially have an Earth life.
Yeah, it's like it's a big deal, and there's like, I guess there's a draw to do it, and it's of course, you know, really funny that when you're actually here, it's like so we just like are constantly complaining. Like so much of it is unpleasant that you can't like possibly imagine that there's a line, but that's like something that's popped up more than once in those things. Anyway.
Sorry, I distracted us because... Wait, keep going. I'll come back. I got excited.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just saying, like, that would be, like, a good thing to build a church around.
Yes.
Because then, like, it's, like, legit. It's like, hey, I'm not, like, fooling you guys. Like, this stuff's important to me. It's probably important to you, too. This is the church. Obviously, like, the most fun part of this is that we're just like hanging out together, doing whatever. It's just an excuse to like get together and hang out.
Right, without... I'm gonna let this steam out of the pumpkin.
Okay.
Kind of loud. Yeah, I think the reason I was got excited about you telling them like is that after you told me that, again, this is so early on, I just was like, I mean, when you first said that story, I just found it to be like such a beautiful possibility. Because I think one of the things you said is like, you know, there we are complaining about like traffic on 84.
Yeah.
But like, we stood in line to experience what it's like to be in traffic on the 84.
Yeah,
this earthly little experience.
Yeah, we think it's just like cool that we're gonna be like living our little lives and sitting in traffic, being mad in traffic and like worrying about bills and stuff. We're like, ooh, that sounds so cool. Then you get here and it's like, oh, fuck you. Fuck. Yeah, it's really funny.
But to me, the way I interpreted that as like, isn't this mess beautiful? Like, isn't every tiny moment? Why wouldn't you stand in line for this?
Yeah,
actually,
right.
Like, if you think about the vastness of the universe that we have in no way are comprehending yet. And in some ways, right, it actually overlaps with so much of like different religions, is to see that every tiny moment is pretty fascinating, including, you know, like the way I began learning about like Zen Buddhism in high school, and that really spoke to me because I think as an adolescent I could like feel the intensity of like tiny moments. I think a lot of people do. What is that crazy sound?
We should check. You want to check the fire?
Oh, the fire.
How's it looking?
Looking pretty good, but it got close to the
The glass.
And it wasn't like you were I'm sorry, wait. It wasn't like you were preaching to me like, here's my religion or here's my like, you were just like, I mean, essentially you were giving me a synopsis of NDE stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that for days, like where that's all I was thinking about. And now I liked that for a while we would like be in these funny little boring moments in life, and one of us would be like, oh yeah, we stood in line for this though. And it would totally change the vibe. Like, I mean, everything from traffic to just like, I think we're at Home Depot, which is your least favorite thing ever, is to be in like Yodeland Home Depot. And one of us made a joke, oh yeah, but we stood in line for this. And it like instantly changed the vibe a little bit of like, oh right, this is funny.
Right, running like an errand that you don't want to do. That's like a really human experience in this time period, at least.
Yeah.
I
like this.
Last thing on that note that I feel like I have to say is definitely like consistent theme is like how important, or like there's something really valuable or important about each of our lives. And another thing I've heard like in numerous reports is how like acknowledged it is, how like hard it is here. And like I've even in at least one of them, it's like it's the hardest. It's like the hardest incarnation. I don't know.
Like you can choose other dimensions, other worlds.
Yeah, there's like
that aren't as hard as
there's
Earth.
easier places where like basically the like people, if you want to call them that, there are more like even keeled and everything's like a lot smoother and like, you know, the weather's nicer, blah blah blah. And it's not like this. This is really hard. This is hard mode, hardest potentially.
Level
I like
10
that.
or something.
Yeah, this is like for the real players who wanted a challenge, basically. Make of that what you will. Maybe you could disregard all of this.
Does that feel? Tell me more about why that.
It speaks to me. It just feels consistent. It's like I was saying the other day how I forget what we were talking about, but like if something isn't real, I don't want to do it. You know, it's like I don't want to play. It's a waste of my time and emotional energy. If it's not real, I don't really want to do it. So like it would make sense to me that someone presents me with some game like this where you forget that you are who you are and you just are born as like a freaking super intelligent monkey in a society, and it's like a total nightmare at times, like, but everything you do is really significant for like because of how the whole thing, the whole premise, that like sounds interesting to me. It's like, okay, so we can like genuinely grow. Like, I get it, that makes sense. Whereas like if we knew that we were these like ancient, like conscious, you know, creatures of some kind, and it was just an incarnation, it would just like not really mean all that much.
Really?
I don't think so.
I mean, don't
because
you now
because
know
death would be meaningless.
But
none of this would matter.
See.
It's like,
because right now I feel like I'm an eternal cosmic being because I've done enough hallucinogenic drugs and spoken to people like you who have these readings, that things they've learned.
yeah.
And now, like, but to your point, I know that there's some part of me that is some kind of eternal cosmic being. Maybe a part of a larger cosmic being. Right, I don't know. I know that I feel connected to that truth spiritually now.
Yeah.
And this is as someone who's like a fucking atheist forever, which I was. But you're right that like day to day, I don't experience that truth. I get distracted by tiny things and worries and hormonal, emotional moods, right, and just earthness.
Yeah, contending with your monkey body, I'll call. I don't know. Contending with our like 8 bodies is a big part of this.
Yeah.
We can only focus on like one thing at a time. Sorry, I was like changing topic there. Sorry.
Were you? No, wait. Were you? It's somewhat adjacent.
I think what I mean is if we knew, then it's just like a temporary stop, and I think we'd just be bored, man. I would be bored. I would be like...
Really?
I would be like bored to tears, I think.
If you knew...
If I knew that I just needed to stick something out for 80 years and then I could like go back home, I think I would be bored to tears.
But isn't that maybe what the Earth experience is designed, is to keep distracting you with the bodily sensations, libido, emotional turmoil, so that even if you like read all the text and realize this is true, we're just sticking it out.
We do still have to deal with all that stuff.
You just like, it's kind of like how video games work, right? You go into this world and you, in that moment, your heart is racing as if you really are, right? Experiencing.
Oh, I see what you mean. You can get lost in a video game, even though
in
you
a
know
good movie.
You're basically playing. You know, okay.
And except this one's been rolling for years.
This one's...
decades.
This one's like way more like immersive than anything like that. But
yeah, because it's like hardwired, like hormones, all this shit is actually...
Yeah, it's like that. we've got these like analog bodies.
Which are so delicious and beautiful.
They're pretty incredible. Yeah, I don't know. I maintain pretty strong vibe that if everybody knew this was a video game or something like that, it would not really work very well. You wouldn't have these moments where you get to like test yourself. It just wouldn't really be the same. Like,
can I ask a question?
Sure.
I was, for some reason, looking up multiple definitions of enlightenment, as one might do, some random afternoon. And one of them, which is how I started reading Eckhart Tolle or whatever his name is. I don't know how I wound up there, but one of them is when enlightenment is realizing like deep in your heart and then wiring your body accordingly that you are not your mind, that you are not your body, this mind and this body, that you are actually this core energy, God adjacent being, right? Like you're part of a God, you're part of like a larger, infinite, eternal entity. And that's enlightenment. It's just knowing that. And being able to hold it in your body versus having your body distract you. And I was like, so rationally, I have like a rational experience of enlightenment right now because of, again, really truly hallucinogenic experiences and conversations with you and some reading. I just don't have the bodily stuff worked out. My body keeps so much predicting my thoughts and feelings. Versus this understanding that I am part of this larger thing. Sorry. That's what I came up for you.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I personally like our body weight here. I think it's great. It is funny that's like it seems like to be a focus when you start learning about spirituality is like trying to somehow forget you have a body.
Or not let it rule you. And so I think what you're saying is if everyone were enlightened, if we're using that definition, if everyone were enlightened, it wouldn't be level 10 hard.
It wouldn't be, no.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And there's places you can go, probably, I assume, because you can do anything, I think. I really believe that. We're act truly free even in this moment.
You could choose a different, you're like, never mind, I'm not loving this level 10.
Yeah, you can be like, I'm just going to play like level 2 for a second and like go into some world where you remember everything and everyone there is like fully aware that you're totally safe and everything is fine and you're just like playing Minecraft essentially. You're just like playing Minecraft, building like spaceships and like it's just fun. You're just hanging out with your friends building and it's a blast. Or you can come here and this is like really serious. This is a big deal to be here is what I'm gathering. It means a lot. It's like going to like university or something.
Oh, meaning like to be here and make it through on the other side, like die an honorable death, whatever that may mean to us, is like getting a grad school degree or something.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like
I like that.
There's a little party for you when you get back because it's like a big deal that you did it. You don't get that if you play level 2 or whatever. Like in like something I've been wondering is like to what do we ascribe like a human's like ambition, you know? Is that like genetic? Is that like a evolutionary trait?
Oh my God.
Or do we just like is that like a spiritual trait, I wonder? Because that would explain why we do this, is we're just like constantly striving to like learn and grow and be better and like experience more. That would explain a lot to me.
How would you define ambition?
I mean, it's probably different for everybody, but like, it's just this like desire to. It's just this seeking for something better. Like, I don't really know how to explain it, because like it could incarnate in so many different ways.
Derek's tasting the pumpkin. How does it compare to last
not as
week's
sweet.
post-capitalist pumpkin?
That one was sweeter.
This one's waterier.
It is. It's not as good.
It's not as good.
We could put some butter in.
You know, one of the recipes I saw was that you actually should strain the pumpkin puree because it's so watery.
Water.
But then with this one, I tried straining it the last week's and like nothing came out. It must be for this type of pumpkin.
Those were good pumpkins, man. We gotta get more of those.
We still have one more on your porch.
Yeah, this is not as good, but I'll eat it.
So keep going. Sorry. Yes, and also.
Oh, ambition. What is ambition? I mean, it's different for everybody. I don't want to get caught.
No, I don't mean to like hold you to one thing and be like, but is it true? But
yeah, you know what your ambitions are.
Well, I liked your definition that it's this desire to always be growing and learning, because that, from like studying neuropsychology, that seems to be true across cultures, which is one thing I kind of am always curious about, is like, is it truth true across cultures, or just the story that I grew up with in the Western world? And ambition is really highly discussed in the U.S. Rewarded, maybe valued. Competition.
Right. It's a specific variety of ambition.
Yeah.
But like, I personally think it's kind of like innate in like virtually everybody in some capacity.
Competition or ambition?
Ambition. Because like, even if you have just decided like, I don't know, I'm just skeptical that there's people who live without it.
I think I'm in agreement with you. I mean, I'm only mentioning it because some people I've heard say that competition is ambition, ambition is competition.
I don't see it that way.
I don't either. Because ambition can be this drive to keep growing and learning, and that can be a lot of inner work where you are...
Yeah. Totally.
You never think about someone else. You're not comparing yourself to someone else, and you're definitely not assessing yourself.
Yeah, like, I feel like
against someone else.
Totally, because like for some of the things that I'm ambitious about and that I imagine other people are ambitious about, you'd have to like convince people to even compete with you in that thing, you know? It's like, I think a lot of it is just if you're in competition, it's like with yourself, and I still don't really see it that way. It's just not the right word. But it can be competitive. I think it's often competitive, and there's a lot to be said about competition as like a means to get everything you want out of life and like what life can offer, because I think competition between us in certain respects like pushes us beyond what we think we can do, and I think that's something really special about life here, is that you can do that, because I don't think like these opportunities really exist on like the other side. It's just like here. So that's just my take. Who knows? Who knows?
How did we get here on this subject? Not that I don't like it.
I don't remember. Oh, I don't remember. I think I'm always pretty eager to start going on and on about it.
NDEs.
Yeah.
I like the idea of church being essentially reading club, but around something that's really clear and mysterious versus over there's a humility in like reading NDEs together and maybe talking about them.
Yeah.
Because you can't be like, this is the truth.
Yeah.
Here's the 10 Commandments from NDEs. That's not what those stories are, is my understanding.
No. And it's kind of like novel work. I mean, there's people who've researched this stuff, but like Church of NDEs doesn't exist.
Why not?
You'd think it would.
I like this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the tangent. As I was like, oh, there's a thing.
Cafe NDE.
There's
church.
a thing we could do at church, at the cult church.
What else would you want to do, or is that it? Is that like a really good
That's
focus?
just the only thing I came up with.
Yeah.
We could just watch movies, cool movies, have coffee. You know.
I mean, even just like watching a movie or reading a thing, whatever it is, and then the question every Sunday is like, what does this bring up for you and how you're understanding spirituality or your place in the universe? And that's it. It's just like a chance to check in with like, sure.
Yeah, I mean.
You seem less excited about that, which is cool. It's fine.
No, it's good. I'm just burned out on thinking about my spirituality. No, it's a good idea. It's, let's keep the church idea on the table here.
Should we pause? How are you feeling? We did an experiment of just
going.
Just
going. How long is is this now?
45 additional minutes.
Oh, okay, so we're up to like an hour and 15.
Mm-hmm. It's moved us from post-afternoon walk time to prep dinner time. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, we can call it here for today.
You seem very... What's the word that your face is? Skeptical. You've got a skeptical brow.
Oh, skeptical. I don't know what I might be skeptical about.
Or like, That's the sound your brow is making.
I don't know. Maybe I was thinking about the logistics of actually like registering a church or something. Like, it's just too much.
That's a lot.
It's too much nonsense for me to get what I want, which is like a coffee shop in the middle of a neighborhood.
Well, we already are gonna have a cat cafe available to our artist, subletter, roomie friends and their
just whoever.
Friends and family.
Yeah, basically.
I like this.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Alright, I'm ready to have taco. Or I'm ready to get your help with tacos.
Let's do that.
Okay. Thanks for letting me describe your brow on a recording. Derek's brows always say a lot.